my phone than it would be to.
And it is rolling.
What up? What up?
Give it a minute for the people to join.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone does.
I never really mess around with live Facebook much. I go live on YouTube.
Yeah.
I get like 30,000 people tuned in sometimes. Yeah.
And what's cool is like we could connect ours together. So like let's say you're in Ohio and we're here.
Gotcha.
We could go live and both our comment sections would get mixed.
Oh, okay.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like you just like send like a link invite.
That's so smart.
Yeah. I want to do some hypers later. I'm excited to try those single legs because he's got one in the backyard.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Dude, he would love my. I mean, how many square feet do you think my basement is? 2,200 with 10-foot ceilings. It'd be.
Oh, he'd love it.
Yeah.
No, this ain't Mike O'Hearn today. We got Matt Wenning taking
What's
over.
That? Yep, the real Mike O'Hearn.
Mm-hmm.
You guys got any questions?
Yeah.
We'll get to them. So just ask.
Yeah.
And anything powerlifting specific, anything about training with Mike, anything about what I do when I travel, because that's like a 5-hour flight to get here from Ohio.
Jeez.
So yeah, I mean it's a doozy.
What's your preferred page? This one right here?
The other one's bigger, Wenning strong. OMG.
What's the easiest way to lose body fat? Well,
So this is
okay, so easiest way to lose body fat. When I did a lot of classes with Charles Poliquin back in 2015 to 2018, he said the first thing that you want to do is fix your breakfast. So if you're trying to lose body fat, the first thing that you want to do is you want to eat a decent amount of carbs and fats in the morning, because it kind of pre-programs your body to think about what it wants for the rest of the day. So you notice that people that are overweight do two things or have high body fat. They eat high carbs in the morning, or they don't eat any breakfast at all.
Ooh.
And so I think that's two things that you can really work on is get up, have some red meat, some chicken, and try to get some high fats in. Pistachios, cashews, almonds, high fats, high proteins in the morning, and watch it basically start to curb out your carb cravings and make everything chilled out. So that's the first one I would say would be the biggest thing you can do. And always think protein, right? When I'm working with my firemen that are overweight or even in the obese category, every time they sit down, I try to make them think about protein first. If you're trying to get 40 or 50 grams of protein in a meal, it's really hard to do that with potato chips, right? Like you can't eat 50 grams of protein with potato chips, like 20 bags. But you can get that with ground beef, ground chicken, ground turkey. Those are my three major go-tos. So that was a good question.
Beautiful.
Read them to me. I can't really see.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking for some.
Or if you want to pop it up on the screen in that big spot like you did, Dingleberry, Dingleberry 20.
Oh shit!
That's a fucking awesome name.
When you do body weight exercises like push-ups and pull-ups, is more frequency required to progress? I do 3 sets 3 times a week, and I feel like I'm plateauing.
Well, you're plateauing because it's the same stimulus over and over again. If you look at the old Soviet texts, there's really 2 ways to change your loading. You can change the volume and intensity, which I consider those to be number changes, or you can change the actual mode or the exercise. And so if you're doing the same exercises over and over again, there's a handful of things that are going to be a problem with that. The first thing is you're going to hit a plateau like you're seeing. If you keep pushing through that sticking point and not listening to your body to switch the exercise, it's going to usually develop into an injury.
Ooh.
So you have to make sure that your training has variety, not necessarily for the muscle, but for the joints to get different pressures at different times and angles so that it can recover itself. The body doesn't like to recover itself from the exact same stimulus over and over and over again. And this is where it gets confusing, because we see a lot of top pro guys, a lot of dudes which I consider low education on biomechanics and physiology. The problem is that you also have to be thinking about your joints, ligaments, and tendons when you're training, not just the muscle tissue. And this is where it's getting real dicey, because you see people like, well, I heard it's best to rest 2 or 3 minutes for hypertrophy.
Yeah.
Or I heard it's best to, you ever hear anybody talking about what's best for ligaments, tendons, and passive tissue? Never. But what's the one thing that stops you from training usually?
Those three things you just mentioned right there.
Right? So if your training has a thought process, at least at a baseline level of what is my training doing to my passive tissue, you're already in a better mindset than the average person in the gym.
Yeah. It's always about muscle.
Right.
How do I grow my chest?
Right.
How do I grow this? How do I grow
And I know I'm on Mike O'Hearn's page, and I know that a lot of you guys follow him because of his aesthetics. And trust me, if I could look like Mike, I fucking would. But my point being is, Mike has more of my respect because he's never injured.
Yeah. Well, he beats that fucking information into the bush with these people.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen it. But my point being is, like, that's why you guys should be following him.
Yeah.
That's why you guys should be listening. Right. And again, that's where you want to be, because for most of us, like myself included, I didn't look like I really lifted weights for the first 4 or 5 years. I was a big, thick kid, but I had to lift almost 10 years until I actually looked like I had muscle. So my body doesn't respond in an aesthetic nature. It responds in an explosive and strength nature.
But your ligaments were made out of steel.
Right. And I did that by being very, very cautious on how I progressed, giving my body time and deloading. So that's something else that I think is a big thing for you guys, is understanding that you need downtimes in your training. I watched a video of Dorian Yates talking not very long ago, and he was talking about how every 6 to 8 weeks you need 3 to 5 days off completely.
Yeah.
And I think for most people, that's probably a good rule of thumb.
Yeah.
Now, for some people that has everything tuned in, and maybe they don't have a high stress job, they got their nutrition perfect, their sleep perfect, you may not need deloads. But for the majority of people, you're not in that category. So we have to think about what category we are in and what we can do to make that better. And again, stop comparing ourselves to other people and start comparing yourself to what cards you have been dealt right now. What's the next one?
Doing single leg lunges, is that a size building exercise?
It can be. And like we just talked about, guys, remember, think about, and I'm a big car guy. So anybody that follows any of my stuff knows that I have muscle cars I've restored for years. You can only go so far with a hammer and a screwdriver. And that's one exercise that will work when utilized correctly and at the right amount of time, intensity, and duration in the annual cycle. We are currently on my apps. We're currently on single leg work right now because
what's your app?
So we're on Conjugate Elite, Train Heroic. Hale can give you all that information. But my point being is, we have seasons of time where we do lunges and a lot of single leg work. And I'm going to explain why. You are only as strong as your weakest side. Okay. And so when you guys are training really hard, if your right leg squats 315 and your left leg squats 365, you squat 315. And the reason is because of symmetry. Your body sometimes and oftentimes in a bilateral movement is limited by its unilateral balance. So I'll repeat that again. Your bilateral strength is oftentimes regulated by your unilateral strengths. So if I have one leg stronger than the other, I'm only as strong as my weakest side. And that also holds true for anterior and posterior work, meaning that my quadriceps can only display my strength in my squat as much as my hamstrings can control the knee tracking. This is why when you see on like my online coaching and apps, we do a ton of hamstring work. I have yet to run into anyone in the gym where their hamstrings are stronger than their quads, even out of the gate. Because you got to remember, the patella is not only a bone, a kneecap for protection in case you fall down and protect the joint, it's a leverage system. So that particular muscle has a better lever than the opposite side, i.e. the hamstring. So the hamstring needs consistent, constant activation every so many days, or it's going to start going backwards. So it's always about balance and symmetry from front to back, which also leads us into strength being very relative to aesthetics, right? You don't want these monster quads in the front and then you look like Pee Wee Herman in the back, right? I mean, how many times do we see that kind of shit going on, right? Huge biceps, no rear delts.
Everything that you can see in the mirror.
Yeah. And I think what you guys can do is if you're focusing, make sure that you're focusing on things that you cannot see in the mirror standing and looking in front of you. If 65 or 70% of your thought process is on the backside, you're going to have a better outcome, not only in injuries, but also in how you look. You're only seeing what you see in the front. Everybody else sees a 360-degree picture. Yeah. And in my opinion, when you're walking around, there's a handful of muscle groups that I think are the most predominant and the most impressive. Lats, glutes, calves, hamstrings, rear delts, triceps. Yeah. If those are massive and ginormous, I can almost guarantee you everything else is pretty good too.
Yeah. And all of those were on the back.
They're all on the back side. Right. So, that's kind of been my thought process. And a lot of times when I'm stuck with exercises that maybe I want to try something new or I want to hit a different angle. I mean, Michael Hearn's the first guy I go to text or call and be like, hey man, I'm having some issues here and there. What do I need to do? And he always gives me a straightforward answer on some things that I do. And, I'm the same as him. I've never really been.
You don't look on Instagram posts for
honestly, we talked about that yesterday.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's 3 pillars that you need in order for Matt Wenning to come on your page and take a look at what you're doing and not cut your video and make you look like an asshole. Okay. 1, what's your strength level? If you're showing me how to bench press and you want to argue with me about bench pressing, I'm all for it, but you better bench 500, right? Yeah. If you come to me benching 185, I don't give 2 fucking shits what you have to say. Number 2, how long were you able to sustain that strength? Let's say you get to a 500-pound bench. If you can only hold that for a year or 2, and then you're completely grenaded, you probably don't know how to train. You're just a freak. And then the third one is how much education are you willing to put? How much money are you willing to pull out of your pocket, put down and go to school and actually learn new things? And that's the thing. So education, strength, and longevity. If you don't have those 3 pillars, then I'm probably not going to listen to you. And don't get me wrong. I've been around coaches like Louis Simmons, who had immense knowledge in powerlifting, chains, bands, accommodative resistance, eccentric and concentric separations, but he had a very limited education as well. And so I think that he would have been more of a legendary status and been able to bridge gap away from powerlifting into the entire fitness industry if he would have went ahead and went and finished college, went and got a PhD, and went and got some of those people's respect in the academia world, right? And that's been my big push is how do I make myself as knowledgeable as Louis Simmons, but have the education to back it up if I want to teach and be a professor, or I want to start writing high-level articles and all kinds of different research type stuff. So those are the things that you need to look for in followers: education, longevity, and strength level. Those, and I think that might even be, if you want to put those in 1, 2, 3, I say longevity, right? Then I say, and this is going to fucking piss people off, then I say strength level. Yeah. Because we got a lot of people that are fucking doctors that don't understand shit.
Don't know shit.
We got, I don't know if Mike wants to say names on the channel, but we got a handful of dudes in this field that are Dr. So-and-so, and they can't lift a fucking thing.
1 second. Okay.
Yeah. So you guys want to make sure that you want to listen to those 3 pillars and follow people that are doing that. So yes, single leg lunges can work, but they're only a portion of the puzzle.
I know. I cut the audio for a second so we can talk shit real quick, guys. Matt, were you in the Netflix movie called West Side vs. the World?
Absolutely. Yeah. If you watch, I was in about 25 minutes of it.
Nice.
They sent me over and asked me about Louis, and we talked. And so I was kind of the catalyst of the movie in some ways because I was the counter swing, meaning Louis kicks me out of West Side Barbell, and then I get better and go back to Louis' meet and kick the shit out of him and take all the prize money. So if you really watch that documentary, you're going to see, and it's pretty damn truthful of all what happened. You're going to see a real interesting story of me moving to Indiana, me training, me meeting Greg and Vlad and all these world record holders and training together. But my best lifts did not come until after I left West Side Barbell and I was in complete control of my training, because with Louis and with West Side, what you found is that positive sides. One, I learned what kind of intensity it was going to take to break world records.
Mm-hmm.
Two, I realized that nobody breaks world records without teams. You need a group of people that have the same goals in mind. It's really hard to take out 900,000, in my case, 11 and 1,200 pound squats. You can't do that without spotters. You can't do that without an atmosphere. Now, maybe there's a handful of guys, like I know Zadrunas Savic is trained by himself in a basement, no music,
just
basically Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
That's one dude out of a million, right?
Right.
So you notice half Thor Bjorgesson has a team of people he trains with.
Yeah.
All the best guys. Ed Cohen had a huge group of guys that he trained with for years. And so that I learned. But what I also did not learn from West Side Barbell was training becomes individual once you become elite, right? When you become elite, things change. How fast you can recover is somewhat genetic. How you adapt to training is somewhat genetic.
Yeah.
Chuck Vogelpool got insanely strong off of bands. Vlad Hasselhoff did not get strong off of bands. He got more strong off of chains. And so they start to get these mixtures of where Louis would make the competition in the gym so difficult that we made it about gym lifts versus competitive lifts. And once I realized that it only mattered what you did in comp, that's when I got to be world class and stay on top of the world for a handful of years.
Let's knock out like one more.
Sure.
We'll get in there. One of Mike's kind of favorite types of question. Hey, what do you guys think of OMAD, 1 meal a day? We get this kind of shit a lot.
Well, I can tell you exactly. You show me someone, again, that follows a longevity mindset that has any kind of strength and any kind of real muscle mass, and I'll show you somebody that regiments their meals and eats at least 3 to 4 hours a day that they're awake. Mike would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every time I've been out with Mike, he eats twice as much as I do. It's just what he's eating.
Right. Yeah.
And again, I think we need to stop trying to reinvent the wheel. But I'll tell you why OMAD, which I'm glad you told me what that was because I had no fucking idea.
Exactly.
Because I'm a powerlifter.
Exactly.
That means I don't go without eating.
There's tons of acronyms. Do you do HP?
I will tell you this. The reason that OMAD is so important or so popular in the general public and just maybe the low-level fitness industry is because it's fucking easy.
Mhm.
This means that if I only got to think about eating one time a day, then I don't have to regiment my meals and prep everything and store everything and probably eat the same thing all the time. Notice what I'm saying is what people try to avoid that actually makes them look or feel the way they want.
Mm-hmm.
They think that if I only eat one time a day, it's going to fix all my problems, right? That's not the case. The case is that are you regimented enough outside of the training to be able to show these gains? And that means that your sleep and your diet have to be just as in tune as your training itself.
Mm-hmm.
That is where it comes down to. So there is no, well, I only eat today and that's going to fix all my problems. You need to be regimented and eat clean. And on top of that, understand that eating can be somewhat individual and needs to be based mostly off of your blood work, meaning that some people can eat red meat 3-4 times a day and have no problems. Others, it's going to start raising a lot of different markers.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to play with those different things and figure out what works for us. You want to get food allergy tests because some foods that are labeled as healthy may be high inflammation for you and some foods may not. And so how do you know that unless you get tested, and you really don't?
The more you know. And that's huge. People don't get tested. People don't know.
No, they just want to run by the wayside. And it's so easy to get tested now.
So
you know, when I
easy
was
to
in
get
my
tested.
prime and O'Hearn was in his 20s,
Mhm.
it took more work and understanding and know-how how to get your blood work done.
Yeah.
Kind of like Kaylin, my girlfriend, she's in Canada. It's not as easy to get your blood work done up
I know
there.
we hear that people always ask us,
Yeah.
hey, how do I do this and that?
But here, you got Merrick Health and all these other startup
You
companies.
can go down the street, and in 10 minutes, we can go to Quest, come back with a full panel, and in 2 days, we'll know everything.
So in 2 days, we can go to Quest and we can get blood work done. We can know everything what's going on, our testosterone, cortisol levels, hematocrit, hemoglobin. And if you're really big into straining hard and eating a lot of protein, get your kidney function checked. Look at your EGFR. Look at your creatinine levels. A lot of those things can stop a problem from happening before it becomes a major issue. And if you're just flying by the wayside, bad idea.
There it is. Jeff, have you upped the dosage, bro? Not yet. We are out on
But
that note.
But I'm in town, so he'll have some more.
Did you see that video when
Mm-mm.
Arnold comes to the gym and he just fucking busts my balls so
Oh, no.
hard? It's
We wanted to talk to
It
him
was
so
so
bad
good.
yesterday.
yeah.
He walked in right before you guys got there, and I'm like, man, I need to go. Because I thought he might remember me, but I'm like, I'll leave him alone.
Yeah. It's all about.
Mind your business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're gonna go squat.
Thanks for watching. Hope you guys hop on my Facebook page. We got a few of them. Matt Wenning, Wenning Strong is the other Instagram stuff. If you guys come to Winning Strength on YouTube, I do a little bit more stuff in the powerlifting range, but there's some stuff that will heavily transfer over to how Mike O'Hearn trains and what I've learned over the last 30, 40 years of being in the field.
See you guys.